A narcissist, consumed by their own delusions of invincibility, walked straight into the jaws of a federal sting. Unbeknownst to them, the shadowy figure they believed was an ally, a hacker for hire, was an undercover agent waiting to strike. Cash exchanged hands, secrets spilled, and the narcissist's arrogance became their downfall. In a moment of reckoning, the truth exploded. They were caught red-handed. Their empire of manipulation crumbled under the weight of their own obsession. The feds had played the ultimate game, and the narcissist never saw it coming. They couldn't stand it. Your glow-up, your peace, your ability to move forward without them. It haunted them like an unsolved mystery, nor did their ego, like a wound that refused to heal. You had become the one thing they couldn't control, and that reality drove them into a desperate, spiraling obsession. Every move you made, every step you took outside their reach, felt like an insult to their fragile sense of power. They needed to know what you were doing, who you were with, and most importantly, if you were thriving without them. Paranoia took root in their mind like a slow poison. At first, they convinced themselves it was curiosity, a harmless need to stay informed, but the truth was far darker. They were unraveling. Their biggest fear wasn't losing you, it was losing control over how you perceived them. They had built an illusion of power, a narrative where they were always ahead, always untouchable. But the moment you broke free, the moment they saw you rising without their interference, their world began to collapse. The usual methods weren't working anymore. The fake accounts, the flying monkeys, the mutual connections they once used as informants. You had shut every door, locked every window. Their access had been revoked, and they refused to accept it. That's when they crossed the line. They turned to technology, leveraging spyware, social engineering, and black market hackers to infiltrate your privacy. If they couldn't watch you from the outside, they would find a way to get inside. They thought they were clever, that their schemes were too intricate to be detected, using disposable devices, encrypted messages, and backdoor surveillance tools. They tried to recreate the control they had lost, but in their desperation, they became reckless. Their arrogance convinced them they were untouchable, that they could buy their way into your world without consequences. They failed to realize that the walls were closing in, that every digital footprint, every illegal transaction, every move they made was leading them straight into a trap. What they believed was their master plan was, in reality, their greatest mistake. They had set their sights on controlling you, but instead, they had unknowingly triggered their own demise. And the worst part? The feds were already watching. What they didn't know, what their arrogance refused to let them see, was that they weren't the predator in this game. They were the prey. Long before they even reached out to their so-called hacker for hire, law enforcement had already been watching every desperate move they made. Every failed attempt to slip back into your world was nothing more than a breadcrumb leading straight to their own downfall. The hacking attempts, the fraudulent transactions, the cyber-stalking, all meticulously documented. They thought they were operating in the shadows, but they had been walking under a spotlight the entire time. Each scheme they devised, each illegal tool they deployed, had left a trail, a digital fingerprint connecting them directly to the crimes they thought they could hide. Their paranoia had made them reckless, and recklessness had made them sloppy. But their biggest mistake, the fatal miscalculation that would seal their fate, came when they thought they had found a way back in. Blinded by desperation, they reached out to a hacker, a faceless figure in the underground world of cybercrime. They believed they were securing a direct line into your privacy, a way to regain control. What they didn't realize was that this hacker wasn't just any shadowy operator. This was an undercover agent, one who had been waiting for them to take the bait. It was too easy. They were so eager, so convinced of their own intelligence, that they never questioned who they were really dealing with. There was no hesitation. They handed over the money, sent explicit instructions, and detailed exactly what they wanted. Access to your life, your conversations, your digital world. Every word they spoke, every demand they made, was being recorded. Every transaction was being logged. At that moment, they had already lost. They just didn't know it yet. They had imagined themselves as the mastermind, the one pulling the strings, but they had just signed their own arrest warrant. The trap was set, and the countdown had begun. Soon the walls would close in. Soon they would realize they weren't the ones in control. They had been played. And the worst part? They had played themselves. The moment they transferred the money, the case against them was sealed. Every keystroke, every whispered instruction, every arrogant demand was now evidence, undeniable, inescapable. But the feds weren't going to move in just yet. No, this wasn't just about making an arrest. This was about building an airtight case, a case so meticulously crafted that there would be no room for excuses, no loopholes to exploit. The trap wasn't just set, it was closing in, one calculated move at a time. The agents played the long game, feeding the narcissist's delusions of control. They responded just enough to keep them engaged, dangling the illusion of success right in front of their face. The narcissist, lost in their fantasy of domination, never suspected a thing. They thought they were operating in secrecy, moving in silence. What they failed to realize was that the silence was them walking straight into a cage, one that had been built specifically for them. Behind the scenes, the evidence was stacking up. Every digital footprint was traced, every transaction dissected, every interaction cataloged. Phone calls recorded, emails intercepted, money transfers flagged and tracked. There was no way out. Yet in their arrogance, they carried on, convinced that they were in control. They didn't question how smoothly everything was going, how easily they had secured what they believed was a direct line into your private world. They were too blinded by their need to spy, too consumed by their obsession to notice the small details, the delays, the carefully worded responses, the slight hesitations designed to keep them talking just a little longer. And so they kept going, kept digging their own grave, one desperate request at a time. Each time they pushed for more access, each time they wired another payment, they were unknowingly writing their own confession. The feds didn't need to chase them down. They were walking willingly into the fire, handing over every piece of evidence needed to destroy them. They believed they were operating in secrecy. They believed they were still the ones pulling the strings. But in reality, they were nothing more than a puppet in a play they didn't even realize was happening. Their time was running out, and when the final moment came, there would be no escape. Drop a comment. They set the trap for me, but walked into their own destruction. If you know karma never misses, reality didn't hit them all at once. It crept in slow and suffocating, like a noose tightening around their throat. At first, it was just a feeling, a flicker of unease, a moment of hesitation as they checked their messages and saw no response from the hacker they thought they had hired. But that feeling, it grew, it gnawed at them, and then, like a freight train slamming into their chest, the truth crashed down on them. They were caught. No more illusions of control, no more manipulations, no more hiding behind fake accounts and shady dealings. The power they once wielded had been stripped away in an instant, leaving them exposed, vulnerable, and utterly powerless. The evidence was undeniable. Money transfers, recorded conversations, digital footprints that linked them directly to their crimes. They had played right into the feds' hands, and now there was no escape. Some of them tried to deny it. "This is a mistake," they stammered, their voices laced with panic. They swore they had nothing to do with it, that this was all a setup. But the agents remained unfazed. There was no room for negotiation, no way to twist the narrative. The walls had already closed in. Others tried to run, scrambling to erase their tracks, to delete files, to wipe devices clean. But it was too late. The feds had everything. Hard drives had been cloned, transactions traced back to their accounts, every desperate click and keystroke logged. The moment they thought they could outsmart the system, they had already lost. The smart ones, the ones who realized there was no way out, went silent. They sat in stunned disbelief as their world collapsed around them. No more control, no more secrets. Their empire of deception had crumbled, reduced to nothing more than a cautionary tale of arrogance and self-destruction. The ones who had once laughed at consequences, who had thought themselves untouchable, were now the ones being dragged into the harsh light of reality. What they had done in the dark was now on full display for the world to see. And the worst part? There was no one left to save them. Look, you already know the game is rigged, and if you're paying attention, you know the walls are closing in. So let's talk about what we're doing about it. When you live by the day at the market's command, where profit and property rule the land, to be heard, to be held, to be dealt a fair hand, these are the things that people demand, and we hear you. The Obsidian Inner Order has paywalls. Yes, those who stand with us, who fuel this mission. They give us ammunition to fight the errands, to push back against the machine, to go deeper, to uncover more. And as our thank you, paid members get access to a 1-hour live, personalized weekly group tarot reading, guidance, insight, and clarity for the road ahead. But kicking a man for being down on the floor, that's something we cannot ignore. That's why, starting today, you can steal the Astral Atom exclusive daily newsletter for free. No paywall, no catch. Just join the Patreon free tier. Link in the description. This is the start of our conversation with you, and it's bi-directional. You can reply to any email we send you. We'll read it, we'll hear you, and we'll do our best to get an answer to you from the universe itself. If you can support more, we need you. If you can't, take what's free. The Obsidian Inner Order is open. Now, let's get back to work. They thought they were playing a game of control, that they were the ones moving the pieces on the board. But what they never realized was that the game was never in their hands. It was in yours. From the moment they decided to spy, to hack, to manipulate, they set themselves up for destruction. The universe doesn't tolerate injustice for long, as the very energy they poured into trying to break you only served to break them instead. They believed they were invincible, untouchable, immune to consequences. They had spent years dodging accountability, weaving lies so intricately that even they started believing them. But there was one thing they underestimated. You. Your presence. Your resilience. Your refusal to bow to their games. You were never just a target. You were the key to their exposure, the final domino that sent their entire scheme crashing down. Every step they took to infiltrate your life was a step closer to their own downfall. Every desperate attempt to regain control led them deeper into the snare they had unknowingly set for themselves. Their hunger to destroy you became the very thing that destroyed them. It wasn't just the feds watching. It was something greater, something beyond their comprehension. They played dirty, but the universe plays fair. What they plotted against you, what they whispered in secret, what they did behind closed doors, it all came back to them, magnified. The very lies they told, the traps they laid, the destruction they tried to orchestrate became the exact things that sealed their fate. They thought they were untouchable because for so long they had gotten away with everything. They moved through life like phantoms, causing chaos and slipping away unseen. But the difference this time? They chose the wrong target. They couldn't take your light, so they destroyed themselves in the process of trying. They thought they could rewrite reality, twist the narrative to suit their agenda. But there was no escaping the truth. No amount of lies, manipulation, or power plays could save them. When the scales of divine justice tipped, they had spent their lives preying on others, believing they were above the rules of the world. But in the end, they were nothing more than pawns in their own destruction. And now, they are the ones being watched. They are the ones living in fear, constantly looking over their shoulders, wondering when the next wave of consequences will hit. The paranoia that once consumed them as they obsessed over you has turned inward. Every call they receive, Every knock at the door, every unexpected email, they flinch, knowing that karma is still collecting its debt. The chosen ones never had to fight this battle. The battle was already won. There's no reversing it now, no erasing, no undoing. For narcissists, power isn't just about control, it's about perception. They craft their image meticulously, weaving a web of illusions designed to make the world see them as invincible, untouchable, and always one step ahead. But now, that image is shattered beyond repair. The whispers started small, a few raised eyebrows, hushed conversations behind closed doors. But then, like wildfire, the truth spread. Their name, once spoken with admiration or fear, is now synonymous with disgrace. The people who once praised them, the enablers, the sycophants, the ones who hung on to their every word, have suddenly gone silent. No one wants to be associated with a sinking ship. Their former allies are distancing themselves, deleting old photos, scrubbing any connection from their past. I had no idea, they say. I was never really close to them. The same people who once stood by their side are now pretending they never existed. The fall from grace isn't just legal, it's social. And for a narcissist, that is the ultimate punishment. The news spreads fast. Social media explodes with speculation, receipts, and undeniable proof. Screenshots surface, voice recordings leak. The internet they once used to manipulate and control the narrative is now the very thing exposing them in real time. And the worst part? They can't do anything to stop it. Every attempt to deny, to twist the story, to play the victim, only fuels the fire. No one is buying their lies anymore. The community that once feared them is now laughing. The ones they belittled, the ones they tormented, the ones they tried to control, they're watching the spectacle unfold with quiet satisfaction. Justice isn't just about prison bars. Sometimes, it's about the slow, agonizing realization that the world sees you for exactly what you are. And the humiliation doesn't stop there. Their family is ashamed. Their inner circle is gone. Invitations dry up, doors close, opportunities vanish, job offers rescinded, business deals canceled. Their name, once a tool to open doors, is now a warning sign. They spent years trying to control the way people saw them, but now they have no control at all. Their reputation isn't just damaged, it's obliterated. And they can't rebuild it. They can't silence the internet. They can't rewrite history. They can't force people to forget. They used to thrive on attention, on admiration, on the illusion of power. But now, every time someone looks at them, all they see is disgrace. And no matter where they go, no matter how much they try to run, that stain will follow them forever. Their worst nightmare has come true. They are irrelevant. They are exposed, and they will never recover. They are still obsessed, still desperate, still searching for a way to regain control, even as their empire crumbles. Their paranoia refuses to die. They are scrambling, clawing at whatever scraps of power they think they can hold on to. But here's the truth they refuse to accept. You are untouchable now. They have tried everything. The fake accounts, the hidden spyware, the attempts to infiltrate your digital world. Each time they think they've found a way in, a crack in the wall, but every time they are met with nothing but dead ends. The same tricks that once worked so flawlessly now fail spectacularly. They don't understand why. They don't understand how. Because this isn't just about technology. This is about something greater. Every move they make backfires. Every attempt to spy, to track, to manipulate is met with an invisible force shutting them down. They thought they could play puppet master, but now they are the ones being played. Their own paranoia has turned against them. They are seeing shadows where there are none, chasing ghosts of a power they no longer hold. They have become the hunted. The hacker they were so eager to use. Now they can't find them. The supposed ally they thought would break down the walls for them. Gone, like a phantom, leaving no trace behind. Every lead dries up, every connection fails. And the deeper they dig, the worse it gets. It's almost as if the universe itself has intervened, blocking every path back to you. They don't understand why they can't reach you. They don't understand why their access is permanently revoked. But you do. You are no longer in their world, their games, their manipulation, their obsession. None of it matters anymore. You have elevated beyond their reach, beyond their tricks, beyond the chaos they thrive in. You are protected, shielded, untouchable. And now they are the ones being watched. Their devices are being tracked. Their accounts are being monitored. Their every move is under scrutiny. The feds have turned the tables, and while they once lurked in the shadows, now they are the ones exposed to the light. They are trapped in a game they can never win. The deeper they dig, the more they destroy themselves. And you don't even have to lift a finger. This was never just about hacking. It was never just about spying, or manipulation, or control. This was spiritual warfare, a battle of energy, of karma, of divine justice, playing out in real time. They thought they were operating in secrecy, that their actions would never come back to haunt them. But the universe never forgets. The scales must always balance, and when you move with pure intentions, with divine protection surrounding you, no enemy, no matter how deceptive, how relentless, can touch you. They thought they could steal what wasn't theirs. Your privacy, your peace, your power. They schemed, plotted, and manipulated, convinced they were above consequences. But the laws of the universe do not bend for narcissists. Every single action they took against you was a thread in the web of their own downfall. They weren't fighting you. They were fighting something far greater, something they never stood a chance against. And now, karma has arrived, wearing the face of justice. They tried to play God, to rewrite reality in their favor, to twist fate to fit their desires. But now, they are the ones on trial in the court of divine order. Every lie they told is being exposed. Every manipulation is unraveling. Every mask they wore has been ripped away, leaving nothing but the raw, ugly truth underneath. They wanted to control you, but now they are the ones being controlled by forces they cannot escape, by the weight of their own actions, by the very darkness they once wielded. And you? You don't have to do anything. You don't have to seek revenge. You don't have to fight back, because the battle has already been won. The universe has taken care of everything. Their punishment is not just the legal consequences they now face, or the public humiliation that follows them like a shadow. It's the knowledge that they did this to themselves. You were always protected. Your path was always set. And while they wasted their energy trying to destroy you, you rose above, untouched, unbothered, unshaken. Now you stand in your power, watching as the very forces they tried to manipulate drag them under. This is divine justice. This is balance being restored. And this is just the beginning. Sit back, watch, and let the universe finish what it started. The battle is over, and you have already won.